This interactive video is about defining Ansys contacts for 2D models in HyperMesh. Since we are going to be using the Ansys user profile, we need to load it before we can begin. To do this, start by clicking on the user profile icon. Choose the Ansys option. Now that we have loaded the Ansys user profile, we can load a model. To do this, start by clicking on the File option from the menu toolbar. Here we choose the file named Ansys Contact Manager 2D tutorial.hm. Click on the Open button to open the selected file. Now that the model has been loaded, we would like to define a 2D contact for it. To do this, start by clicking on the File option from the menu toolbar. Here we choose the Contact Manager option. The Ansys Contact Manager window is now open. This window lists all of the existing contacts for the model. Here we would like to create a new contact, so click on the New button to do so. The Create New Contact Pair window is now open. In the Creation Method field, make sure the Flexible option is selected. In the Contact Type field, make sure the 2D option is selected. In the Create From field, make sure that the Surface to Surface option is selected. In our case, all of these are already selected for you, so click on the Pick Target Component button to proceed to the next step. Click the Components button so we can select the target component. Here we select the component, Disk 42. Now that the desired target component has been selected, click on the Proceed button to go to the next step. Note how the outline of the target component that was just selected is shown in the graphics area. Click the Elements button to make it active. Now that the Elements button is active, we can click it again to select the desired elements from the target component. Click on the Elements button. We would like to select the lower half of the elements. To do this, hold down the Shift key and drag the mouse button to make a selection window. Here this is done for you. Now that we have the desired target elements selected, click the Proceed button to go to the next step. The Target Component Details window is now open. The name and ID of the target component and element type can be edited by changing the values in these fields. The color can be changed by clicking on the color box and then selecting a different color. The Apply Key-Opts box is checked here. Having this box checked assigns the key-opt values listed below to the component. The key-opt values can be changed by clicking on the drop-down arrows and selecting a different value. Also, the values can be reset to their default values by clicking on the Reset Defaults button. Now that this window has been explained, click on the Next button to proceed to the next step. Now that we are finished with the target component, we need to select a contact component. To do this, we first need to click on the Components button to make it active. Now that the Components button is active, click it again to choose the contact component. Here we select Box 42 as the contact component. Now that the desired contact component has been selected, click on the Proceed button to go to the next step. Note how the outline of the contact component that was just selected is shown in the graphics area. Click the Elements button to make it active. Now that the Elements button is active, we can click it again to select the desired elements from the contact component. Click on the Elements button. We would like to select the elements on the top line of the rectangle. To do this, hold down the Shift key and drag the mouse button to make a selection window. Here this is done for you. Now that we have the desired contact elements selected, click the Proceed button to go to the next step. The Contact Component Details window is now open. All of the fields and buttons in this window have the same functionalities as the fields and buttons in the Target Component Details window that was explained earlier in the video. So, instead of explaining it again, we click the Next button to go to the next step. In the Contact Property window, a property can be assigned to a component. In the Define Property field, there are 3 options. Selecting the new option will create a new property. Selecting the Use Same As option will use an already existing property that you choose from the drop-down menu. Or selecting the None option will assign no property to the components. The property name and ID can be changed by modifying the property name and ID fields. The constants of the property can be changed by clicking on the value field of the constant and entering a new value. Clicking the Reset Defaults button will reset any of the changed constants back to their original values. Now that the Contact Property window has been explained, we go to the next step by clicking the Next button. The Contact Material window is now open. In this window, a material can be assigned to the components. In the Define Material area, a new material, an existing material, or no material is chosen to be assigned to the components. The material name and ID can also be changed via these fields. Now that the window has been explained, click the Next button to proceed to the next step. The contact is now completed and a summary of the newly created contact is listed in the Contact Manager. Now you have a few options of what to do next. You can create another contact by clicking the New button. You can edit an existing contact by clicking on the field you would like to edit and then clicking on the Edit button. Or you can do as we will do and close the Contact Manager. Click the Close button to close the Contact Manager. This concludes our video on defining an Ansys contact for 2D models in HyperMesh.